Gaming like a noob. Hello and welcome to the channel Gaming Like a Noob. I'm the noob and I call myself Sansomi. And since the City Skylines 1 save we had has crashed, I have made a sad but I guess important decision. Today I will be looking at a couple of pictures from the dev diaries and talk about City Skylines 2, and that will be it for today's episode. And then I've decided that I will actually take a break from City Skylines until City Skylines 2 comes out. So that's, I think it's going to be 5 Sundays without any City Skylines videos. I hope you stay with me. I'm pretty sure that we will have some really great videos with City Skylines 2 once it comes out. So yeah, I'm hoping that you stick with me even though there won't be any City Skylines videos for 5 weeks after this one. Now, having said that, of course I want to say that if you're subscribed to the channel, I say thank you very much. If you're not, I'm really hoping that you would, because it would help me out a lot. Now let's dig into the City Skylines thoughts that I have. It looks interesting. It looks like it's going to be a better game than number 1, but will it be better in the beginning, or will we have to wait for a couple of DLCs before it gets better or as good? I don't know. Some of the things depends on, of course, the mods that are coming, and I'm really looking forward to those. I'm hoping that some of the more, should I say, important mods or the ones you really loved from 1 isn't taking too long before they come out. Should we talk about the picture here, which is the government subsidized? So I guess we're going to get some money when we're a little town or a little city or whatever, before we grow too big, so that we get some help from the government to keep things going and that we can afford stuff and things. And this looks good, I feel. Not very much money though coming in. Sorry. But it looks like okay. So yeah, not much more to talk about in this picture, I think. I think we're going to go to the next picture, and that's going to be milestones. Going to be quite a few milestones this time. And then we have the development points and the map squares that we can buy, and how much money we can loan. And everybody, all the videos that I have watched, I have been warned not to take out loans, because that is a very hefty cost. So yeah, but loads of different milestones here, so that's interesting. When it comes to development points, I'm a bit splitted about that. I mean, sooner or later I hope that you will be able to develop everything, so you don't, when you're big enough. I mean, I can understand that we're not going to be able to do that when we are a big town or a large city, of course, but once we reach Megapolis, I really hope that we will be able to get everything that there is to offer. So let's move on here. This is the maintenance road maintenance building. I think the buildings looks good. So far I haven't been able to get any hands on playing the game, of course. I have pre-ordered it, the big package, because I want to get all the DLC and stuff when they arrived, so I could just as well buy that big one, I thought. So yeah, but it looks like an okay building, this one, and they're gonna be getting a lot of road maintenance big things coming out of that one. Here we have the different residential is also something that looks interesting, and especially the mixed one with departments on the bottom level and then have residential above that, which is I guess more something that you see more in Europe than you see in the States, I guess. Very common, especially here in Sweden, when you get into little bigger cities. There is loads of those buildings where you have shops on the ground floor and then residential above it. So that is a very nice new thingamajig in this City Skylines here. I only wonder how they, I mean, I remember that if you built commercial right up right beside a residential, I mean just a road in between them, there could be some complaints about the noise. So how have they done with that when it comes to this one? I don't know. I guess we'll have to see once we get our hands on it. 24th of October, that is. This is Happiness will be I guess a greater importance than it was in City Skylines. So that's something that you're gonna have to be very careful about, I guess. See to it that they are happy. Now you get a lot of information here about wealth and everything, what you need to do in order to keep them happy, so that's good. Don't know if there's much more to say about that. Let's move on here. And this is a household here, but we can go in and watch. And they're having problems with that the rent is too high, so they need to move out of that place and find another. This could be a problem with the land value going up too much and so on and so forth. But yeah, I guess we're just gonna have to play it before we know anything about that. I have a couple of worrying thoughts about different things, but all in all, I am positive about the game and so on, so no need for that. And here we have a milestone unlocked, a big town. And yeah, the milestones, I have mixed feelings about that as well, to be honest, but yeah. And here that you can make the gridded part here. I mean, I do build a lot of cities with grids. Not because I'm an American, because I'm not. I'm a Swedish person. So, but I don't know if it's true, but in my mind, I was just thinking that the grid section that's been built a lot in the States is probably because they often grid in the land ownership into squares were started back then, so to speak. And in Europe, I guess you just bought what you could come over, or took whatever you could come over, and they had to build the roads around it. And of course, since America is a lot younger than most European places, roads have been built or been made for very, very long. And well, nowadays we can, or for quite some time now, we can remove and make roads go through most of the things, and it's not going to be a problem. If we want the road to go somewhere, we just fix it. While back then the road was more created around the nature to make it easier to make the roads and stuff like that. So yeah, I guess that's the only reason, really, because I don't really know, but I guess that it is. But I like the square system. It feels like you fill out the situation a lot more. Just gonna have to see what we are going to do. And here is, I think it's different styles here. I wonder if this is American and this is European or something like that. I like them. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I am certainly looking forward to all the buildings that is going to be created with the modded community. Because I do believe that there will be a whole lot more beautiful buildings coming out from those than this ones. But yeah, taxi, we will get taxi right from the start, which is going to be interesting, if I'm not mistaken anyway. So yeah, and the entire thing is going to be more, as I understand it, more integrated with the other cities, where if you don't have a taxi depot, there will still be some taxi driving around, because from neighboring cities and stuff like that. So I guess that's an interesting thing. I think that's something that they've got inspiration from SimCity, but before the SimCity 2013, that is. Same with all this electricity and water exchange and stuff like that. I think it's very interesting, all of that, and something I look forward to. So let's move on here. Here we go with the electricity, transformer station here. Loads of options there as well, I guess, with high power and low power connections and stuff like that, and that it all goes under the road is another good. Most of us have that electrified roads mod, I guess. I mean, yeah, sure, it's beautiful in some places with those lines being around, but they were a hassle to, especially those huge ones, when you needed to put it in a beautiful space, yeah, where it didn't really fit in, just because the house, the part there in between there, you may have built a park that isn't any park buildings, just a couple of, maybe a little lake and some trees and some pedestrian walkways and stuff like that, and so the electricity wouldn't jump over to the other side of the park, and you had to put some lines like that, big ugly ones. I mean, those are kind of nice. They do belong in those, when you have from the edge of the map, let's say, and it goes to the edge of the city. When you drive along a highway or something, they can look good there, but Certainly not inside a city with those big ones. Not in my mind anyway. And transport, there seems to be a lot of transport, so that's going to be interesting to see what they have done with that. What I've seen so far, it looks very interesting. I'm very keen to take part in those little details and find out more about it. And I do like this picture as well. So yeah, the map. Let's talk about the map. Now I've heard or read a lot, especially on Facebook, where people complain about the map size, and people complaining about the map size and stuff like that. And yes, the playable map now will be smaller than the 81 mods map, but other than that it will be larger. So as long as you didn't play with the 81 tiles mod, it's going to be a larger map. Now another thing is that there might be coming similar mod to this, and then this map will probably be bigger than the map with 81 tiles in City Skylines 1. So let's hope that they can make a mod like that, yeah, I think we're also, if it comes, it might take a couple of months, and I think we will have really be completely busy building on the maps that we have up until then. So yeah, let's hope for that. But I am hoping there will be a similar thing to the 81 tile mods coming out for this situation as well. Now I have something that I will bring up later in the videos when I get to that kind of pictures. What I'm most worried about when it comes to the map, actually, and especially if there comes a mod 81 mods map thingamajig, but I'll talk about that later on. But I think we should be taking it easy and assess the situation once we have played the game. Maybe the map sizes are enough for us, who knows. Moving on, here's the development tree. There's just one of them, the transport here. So what I'm hoping is that doing certain things will not lock out certain things, so that you can get all the milestones, even if you'll have to reach the full milestones to get every development to get all the development things done, so to say. But yeah, because you want to build everything in your city, don't you? When it's big enough, you want there to be everything, every thought of thing that you can think about, you want to try and squeeze into your little city or your big city. Healthcare and death care. Yeah, this is what I've been reading and what I've been seeing in the development videos and stuff like that. This would district to be able to put a service or build a fire station and tell it to work within a certain district. I like that. I would love to have sort of a central position where I have most of my service buildings, and then have different service building appointed to different districts around that central position. I think that is a cool way to build a city, but who knows? we're just gonna have to see if that will work, but I think it will work that way. So, and then we move on. Yes, here is what I have read about this is when there's nobody, when there's no company in these industrial thingamajings, there is no ad. And then when they move in, they put up the company name and stuff like that. So that's a cool thing. That is for rent when it like this. It's just a way to tell it that it is for rent. A bit tired today. Again, this is the battery station. There's going to be battery, so if you have lots of solar power, you can have a big battery pack so that there will be power at night as well. So yeah, it's an interesting concept, but I wonder if it's going to be as expensive as it is in real life. Then we will have problems getting the cities to get the money that they need to go around. So yeah, and the big railway station, the depot station with all the trains and stuff. It looks nice, and looking forward to building with that as well, of course. And yeah, and here we have row houses, and they look okay, but as I said, I'm looking forward to see what the community, the modding community, can do, because I think they can be looking better. The cars, they look better than the starting cars in City Skylines 1, but I still think that there were cars looking better in City Skylines 1 that was created by modders than the cars in City Skylines 2 look like. So I guess we will get some really nice looking cars from the community as well there, from the modding community. Here's an ore industry thingamajig, and this is going. I'm mostly seeing stills, mostly pictures, no moving things here. This might be looking fantastic, or it might be looking like crap, depending on what's going on here. If it's just going to look like this, I don't know. I need something to happen as well. So yeah, but yeah, who knows? It might be something that looks cool once we get the game up and running. Here we have that mixed with a commercial at the bottom and then residential above, which is, as I said, very common in Europe. Maybe not as common in the US, I don't know. But I haven't really felt it like that, but yeah, maybe I'm completely wrong about that. And the road tools here. We have a lot of snapping options here, which is, well, might be cool, but I have no idea how that works yet, because of course I haven't played it, as I said. And a lot of different ways to curve the road and stuff like that. And the grid, of course, that is very interesting. At that one, I don't know what that is. Elevation, of course. So we do have a lot of actions that we didn't have in City Skylines 1. Parallel mod or mode, which is a mod I've used in City Skylines 1. Hopefully this will work a bit better, because there was some problem when you made a curvy road where they didn't really snap to each other and stuff like that with that mod. But as long as you went straight, you could do those parallel roads really good. So yeah, looking forward to this. And you can see here also with water, power and sewage underneath the road, which we won't get on highways, but that is, yeah, that is well, I think that is common sense that it's not on the highway, I guess. I don't know. Let's move on. Here we have a train station, and as I said, these or haven't said really, but these buildings, which we can upgrade with lots of stuff. The only thing that worries me about that is actually, will we be able to do that with mods as well, or are we just now gonna be stuck with just one type of train station that we can upgrade, one kind of hospital that we can upgrade, or will there be possibilities for the modders to do these kind of buildings with upgrades as well? That is my question for the future. I think that would be interesting to see. Moving on here, we can see seasons, which is one of the features that I am really looking forward to. Seeing snow in the winter time and stuff like that. I think that will be very, very interesting. The question, of course, is how long will the snow be there and stuff like that. And having this implemented is a good thing. Having said that, I would actually want it to be, I want it to be able to, especially for considering making YouTube videos, it would be nice if you could say that this entire session that I'm recording here should be in winter time. So no matter how long I play this, we should stay in winter with snow and everything. So when you make a Christmas episode or something like that, you have snow falling and stuff like that the entire video. I think that would be a very cool thing, actually. But I don't know. I don't think that will be possible. You're gonna have to pause the game or something if you want to make an entire Christmas episode or something like that. So let's move on. Now this is the farming. I've heard a lot about the farming. I've only seen where they have livestock, and it's something like this, which I don't like, to be honest. I think that when you have livestock, you should try to, in some way, not spread out a lot of strange buildings like this. More try to keep the livestock buildings together around, and maybe have some places, some open fields for for the cows and stuff to run out to and stuff like that. Not have a lot of buildings just plopping up in the middle of the ground like this, so to speak. I think that's a bit weird, to be honest. The stables and the barns and everything, they're always close to the building, and then they have, of course, places to run outside, that you put out the cows and stuff out into the field so that they can eat. But it should be more grass when it's more fields with grass and trees and stuff like that, instead of well, should I say just plowed dirt. But I don't know. And of course the building should be closer to the main building, and you can have the animals in that, and then have them being released out to walk all on the grass and stuff like that. But I guess we're gonna get used to it, and I guess they haven't really figured out a way to do that in that sense, so to speak. So yeah. But other than that, I think that when they are farmers with grain and vegetables and stuff like that, I think I've never seen it, but I've heard them talk about that you will see things growing or look like there is something for them to get out on the field. So that's going to be interesting to see as well. Let's move on here. Yes, with the gas stations, what I've heard and understood so far, I don't know if I've not understood it right, but you need gas stations, and you need to place them a bit strategic as well, because the cars is going to run out of petrol, so they need to be able to fill up at a station. So yeah, and if you have oil, you can then get you don't need to import the petroleum or the petrol or whatever. So that's going to be interesting to see if that mechanics is going to work and stuff like that. Absolutely. Then this road tool that it creates, if you cross over, they will create an intersection. I think it's a good idea, and hopefully it will work nicely. I don't think I have much more to say about that one, so let's move on. The roundabouts, I've heard that they actually don't stop a long time here, which was very annoying in the first one. You pretty much needed the roundabout to be completely empty. It doesn't matter. I mean, you can see the motorbike here, even if there's no rider on it. You can see that that one has chosen the lane to go out here, but the car would still wait here until the motorbike was out of the picture, and most of the time then there was a new vehicle coming in here, so there was no real flow in this. I mean, yes, this means leave way, that you should never, it's your fault if you do collide with somebody coming here, but when you come here with a car and the ones in the roundabout is here, or maybe they even in this lane going there, which is meant that they're going to go out of the roundabout, they still stood here waiting, which made it not very efficient with the roundabout. Here we can see that they're almost in danger of colliding here, because this one has driven a little too early, I guess. But I'd rather have it like this than the other way in City Skylines 1, because you really couldn't get the traffic to flow, because they were standing still here so very, very long, just waiting to get into the roundabout. So yeah, that's going to be a nice thing, I hope. So let's hope that's going to be looking good. Next picture, we have coal. The coal power. This is the small power, coal power, and I read today that they were kind of cheap, but I've heard from a lot of YouTubers when they play City Skylines 2 that coal is kind of expensive, that it's better to put up these big windmills, and I guess it could be the environmental thingamajig, that they put a lot of penalties, taxation stuff on the coal plants, and that's why they have become expensive. I don't know, but we're just gonna have to see when we get our hands on the game. So let's move on here, I guess. This is just a picture of a tram here. Thought this was an okay picture. I think the graphics is okay. I think it's quite nice. It's an improvement on the first one. And to be honest, even if most of us would have loved the graphic which Unreal Engine can give us, which is almost realistic, We also know that it would demand an incredible computer to take care of it, and we understand that the developers want as many people as possible to play it. With any products you create, you want as many people as possible to buy it, and if they make it too extreme, people that can't afford to buy a really expensive computer will not be able to play it, and so there will not be as many games sold. Now I think they have landed in somewhere in the middle, and that quite a few will need to upgrade their computers, of course, but not all, and I think they might have landed in somewhere in between, where it makes sense that most people can afford to play the game. So yeah, but of course, who wouldn't like to have it as realistic as possible? Of course we all want that, but can we afford to have a computer? No, most of us cannot go out and buy a brand new computer with all the best graphic cards and CPUs and memories and stuff like that. So no, most of us would not be able to play on these large maps with the Unreal Engine 5 graphics, I guess. So yeah, it's a good middle road to have with the graphics that they have here. Let's move on. Here we can see some budget numbers. I think it's pretty much the same as I showed in the beginning with government subsidies and stuff like that. Here's the service upkeep, and yeah, so let's just move on to the next picture, which is this with Sherpa here, that you can follow people and stuff like this. It's a nice thing. I think there's going to be people that's going to do this every time when they play. They're going to find somebody, oh, I want to follow him, I want to follow him, and or her, or whatever. And that's nice and that's cool, but I think most of us are probably going to get a bit tired of it and not use it. After maybe a month or two, we would just stop using that, because the game is so much more on all the other things. We're just going to be looking at this one to keep them happy, and then not care what they are talking about here that much. But yeah, who knows? Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I feel like it's a little thing that is should I say, a new thing, so to speak, a new thing interesting. We all find new things that are interesting for a short while, and then yeah, it's an interesting thing, but yeah, now I know how it works, and yeah, it's nothing that I have time to look at, and I'll just not choose that and choose that and move on with the game. So yeah, I think that's a lot that's going to happen with that one. Then we have the car accident. This is also something that I have mixed emotions about, because it can get too much. So I hope we don't have too many accidents. Then we also want it to happen from time to time, because we don't want to wait. Let's see, well, we haven't had an accident for 3 years in this game. Oh, here it comes. Oh, that's interesting, and then we move on. So finding the balance for them, I think, is going to be the tough thing. You don't want it to be loads of accidents as soon as it starts to snow or something. I mean, yes, there are still places where the accidents go extremely high when snow I know here in southern Sweden we always have a lot of accidents when the snow comes because we're not that used to the snow. Luckily enough, I haven't been in an accident due to snow so far in my life, and I'm hoping that I never will be, but yeah, that's just the way it is. Let's move on. This is a little industry picture. I just wanted to bring it with. I think it's looking good. It does look better than City Skylines 1, I must say. So I am looking forward to playing the game, and I am looking forward to the graphics. It's just that I know that some of the people that looked at that first trailer, I would say me as well, because when I looked at that first trailer and thought that was what the game was almost going to look like, I was pretty sure that they have switched from Unity to Unreal Engine, but yeah, it was too good to be true. And of course, as I said, I think it would be straining for so many players. The graphic would be just too much for their computers. So yeah, hope we'll land it on some middle ground that is good enough, I guess. This parking house here looks nice, looks really cool. Probably a feature that I will use quite a lot in quite a lot of different places. I hope they will work better so that the cars won't come here and fly up to the second floor and stuff like that, like we did get from many things in City Skylines 1. I do hope that they have more control of where to drive in and everything. So yeah, I do hope that is something that is better than it was in City Skylines 1. Let's move on here. This picture I don't know much about, and I haven't got much to say. It's a nice picture, but this one with this here retaining wall being built when you build into the hills like this automatically is extremely cool. I think it's very, very cool. And as I've understood as well, is that the tunnels that this game will make will be fully rendered. So you will be able to, if there comes this first person mod where you, or this mod that you have first person view of the camera and you follow in a car, you will be able to see the tunnel, inside the tunnel, and not just a blue screen like you did see in City Skylines 1. So that's very interesting as well. I think we're going to get a lot more beautiful sort of following our citizen through the city and stuff like that than we could with City Skylines 1. So it's very, very, very interesting, and very excited about the game. I'm looking forward to October 24. And this is a kind of a place where those big electronic, or electric, I should say, not electronic, those electric poles just fit into the countryside like this. Let's move on here. I do not know. Subway, yes. I like this. I mean, Subway is probably my favorite public transport, to be honest, because it takes such a small amount of space in the city and you can build whatever underneath the city. I love that. I love it. And I think you get rid of all the problems on the city, and you get a lot of people moving around without clustering up the entire city. So that's interesting. And then we have Chirpa, which is going to give us more information, be more important, if I understand it right. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how they've integrated him. So let's hope that they have integrated that in a good way. Moving on here, loans, as I said, they say that it's, well, 9.8 in interest rate. That's high. So hopefully we don't have to borrow money, I guess. Let's move on. There's the passenger boat. It looks nice. It looks really nice. The water, I think it looks even better than in the City Skylines 1. I think it's really pure, beautiful water here. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that in action as well. So let's move on. Here we have the traffic flow map, and this is also something that is interesting. That's going to be something that could be of good use to see where the traffic flows and where it's congested and everything like that. It's yeah, interesting and exciting, that is. And I guess this is just a warehouse, so we're gonna have a lot of warehouses this time as well, and that is also something that I found very interesting to play around with, especially when I got this mod to work, where I could decide where I wanted to put different kind of things and how I wanted things to be moved, and I just loved it. So yeah, taxation, this is a weird one. I mean, I'm not the first one to say this, that they go uneducated, poorly educated, and give different tax rates for them. I think that's very weird, to be honest, because a highly educated person can have a crappy job and earn very little. Should he then pay more tax than the other that have the same work? I don't think that would be right. So yeah, I would rather have them have different income brackets, so to speak, that you have a an educated job requirement, a poorly educated poor job requirement, instead of having it like this. Just add the word requirement to the, so that is that he's working with as an uneducated person. He might be highly educated, but he has a work as an uneducated person, so that's why he gets into that, because he earns like an uneducated person, and then have it like that. I think that would be a better way to put it, because yeah, I mean, there's loads of people that are highly educated that have maybe educated themselves in the wrong lane, so to speak, so they can't find any work in which they are educated, so they need to take a job as an uneducated person. So yeah, just my way or my thought about it, that it should be maybe talked about in another way than you could just add worker behind every here, poorly educated worker, meaning that the job demands don't have a more than a poorly educated demand for him to be a worker there. So that would solve everything, I think, in this. But yeah, I'm going on with some nonsense here, because I understand that that's what they probably want it to be, but they couldn't really find a way to have it within those brackets, so they instead go for what they are educated, and they'll have to pay taxes accordingly. So very important in these cities not to choose, or to choose the right education, so that you don't end up working in a uneducated working place with a high education, because then you would have to pay a lot more taxes than they are most of the time. Not all of them. For me personally, I actually think it's a bit wrong that you have different percentage paying taxes. If you have 10%, a person that earns 30,000 would pay 10%. What's that? 3,000. A person that earns 300,000 would pay 30,000, and so on and so forth. They still would pay more tax, but it would be percentage of your salary just as much as the other ones. I think that would be the most fair way to pay taxes, but yeah, I guess not. Let's move on. How the airport, another place where I think that I want this, should I say, I want to be able to not have always need to have the same airports. I want there to be able to build different airports, looking differently and stuff like that. And that is the modded communities, should I say, work to do, and give us something that make the city looks in a different way. And so I'm really hoping that the modders will be able to make stuff like this. And it's the same as I said with hospital, police station, fire station and stuff like that, so that they can make all these different expansion on the stations and on the airport and stuff like that. This is probably, yeah, offices, and it looks nice. Not much to say about it, not much to talk about it, to be honest. Low density, as you can see, they're not very tall. Offices, when I build city, I often try to have a high rise when it comes to offices. So I usually use Rico to be sure to make those really tall buildings in the offices with a lot of space for workers. But I mean, let's be honest, there are office spaces with these smaller houses and lower offices as well. So yeah, I guess that could be a good thing to try and get right. Let's move on here. Here we have roads, parking facilities available. This is also nice that there will be some sort of capacity and how many that are parking and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I do like it when we have to have parking spaces made available, parking on roads or parking on really parking spaces and stuff like that. It gives another sort of life to the city and another way of looking at the city. You can have the old town where you can forbid cars completely, so that they need to park outside of that community and stuff like that. Yeah, that is. I think it's nice to have the parkings here directly from the start. And then we just have a little roundabout here, and I do like the look that you can do all these roundabouts just by pressing one in. You will still be able, they say, to make the roundabouts that you do today in City Skylines 1 without any major issues. So that's most likely there will be creative stuff like that as well. One of the mods that I really hope that they will make is that presidential edition. What is it? Traffic Management Presidential Edition or something like that. TMPE, I think it's called. Because that is really an essential mod. I really like to be able to control exactly which lane they should be taking and stuff like that. So hopefully that will be integrated into the game or be made pretty quick, that mod. So yeah, here we have a cargo station with the trains, a train cargo station, also being interesting. Also something that I hope that you will be able to for the modders to create different, so not every station will have to look like this, because let's face it, if you have your ore production way back there, you want to move the ore into this situation here, where you might have a lot of use for the ore to do something with it. You don't want the station to look exactly the same. You want some different stations. So yeah, I do hope that the modders will be getting all the information and need that they, so that they can build a station and have lots of these add-ons that you can have to the buildings as well. So moving on, demands. This is looking good, that we will get more precise in what kind of demands that they have. Medium and high density residential. Commercial seems not to be what should I say, boxed into different categories, but yeah, at least the residential is. But yeah, so that's cool. Here we have an accident. As I said, it's going to be tough to, it's going to be interesting to see if they can find that balance, so that we don't get too many accidents or too few accidents. That is going to be very interesting. Here we have the solar panel farm, we should call it, like something like that, Annie. So that is interesting as well. Yeah, and that's when you need some batteries, that's for sure, so that you can use all the power you get in the day, you can use at night as well. That's yeah, that's what I feel anyway. Then we have another cargo transport harbor here, looking nice. And as I said, this is also going to be something like that, where I'm pretty sure that you will be able to add on things and stuff like that in this building, and it's so important that the modders get that information, and that they will be able to build stuff for these things. Really hope so. And here we have one of my complaints. This is definitely one of my complaints. I don't know how other people feel about this, but yeah, the end of the map connection. This doesn't look right to me. I mean, if this was just a blue screen or something, this of course would be natural to me. But just ending the road at the end of this one, that's just weird. For me, to be honest, if we are not allowed to add this with mods, so this is something that we will get into if it's possible to make that 81 tiles version in this game. We will get into this situation here, so that we can move all the way. But if we only can get here, I mean, when we do these connections, the game should really use this road and just paint a road out to the side of the map, just so we get a natural looking road coming in and getting connected to this one. Same with the railway down here. It doesn't look right just ending here and then things are going to spawn here. Feels weird to me, completely weird. I mean, there's still area out here. You can see the area. When we have the blue screen, I didn't care, because that's what's going to happen outside. You don't know that. You can't see anything out there. But here you can see the landscape, and the road just ends in the middle of the landscape. Doesn't feel right for me. Not at all. So if we're not able to use this with mods, I would love for them to, when we connect like this, the game itself should just make a random road out to the edge of the map, and a random railway to the end of the map, just to get the feeling and actually have the traffic on them as well, so to speak, so they just don't show up when they come here, going on the road there from the edge of the map. So this is probably one of the biggest things for me that looks horrible for me. Honestly, I think it looks horrible to have the road just end there, and we're going to get cars driving in and driving out through that little thingamajig. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So I really do hope that they change that, or that we will be able to build upon this with the mods later on, so that we will reach out all the way to the end of the map. Here we have the production thingamajig. This is going to be something interesting to put yourself into, with loads of things, and I'm pretty sure there will come a lot of DLCs with a lot of new stuff that they can produce, and with all the different materials that exist, we're going to be able to produce a lot of new stuff and things like that with the DLCs that is going to come out, and I'll just wait for that. I mean, when we have plastic is certainly something that we're going to get here somewhere, and if we get our DLC with a beach DLC perhaps, we might be getting some balls and stuff like that where we can play with on the beach, and then we use plastic and stuff like that. A lot of beach things like things, parasols and stuff like that coming in the production line. Most likely something like that will happen. This is just the way this is a bit, I shouldn't say it looks crazy, this, to be honest. I don't know if it's called scaffold or whatever in England, but the way you built up houses in City Skylines 1 would look better on these small houses. And then when you get to skyscrapers and stuff like that, yes, I can understand that you bring in these cranes, because that's where you really need those cranes. You don't need it to build these small houses. This should just be built like in City Skylines 1, I feel anyway. So this is a criminal. This is also going to be something interesting to see what's going to happen with the criminality and stuff like that. So yeah, loads of stuff is really interesting. And cargo airport looks nice. Here we have some commercial high buildings, looks good as well, so looking forward to that. And then we have some transport here, making lines here to move people around. Looking closely to this indoor leisure thingamajig, that we will have different sort of sporting events and stuff like that, fitness things and different stuff that people get happy about. So yeah, gonna have to plan a lot more where we build and how we build and everything, which is in itself quite interesting, of course. Here we have a pretty nice picture of an industrial area. I think it looks kind of nice. This house looks a bit weird though. Looks like it's been semi buried. So yeah. And then we have a little high offices here. It looks interesting as well. I think the road looks nice as well. Something I need when it comes to roads, but I guess I'll take that a little later. Here we have some more parkings, which is interesting. And here we have this again, where we reach the end of the map. I mean, for me, to be honest, if this is what it's going to look like, there is a very big possibility that I will dig down and make a tunnel at the end of the map, because I feel that would look better than just ending at this edge of the map like that. And then you can just imagine that it's a tunnel all the way to the end of the map. But looking like this, where you it just cuts off here, it doesn't look right for me. So yeah. And then we have this thing that we can have waypoints that we place out where we want to have stops, bus stops and stuff like that. We point out where we want them, and here they want bus stops at before and after this intersection here, and then they want the buses to go around here instead of going through this little more busy intersection. I guess they feel that it's going to be that anyway. So yeah, that is going to be interesting to play around with as well. I think loads of things going to be very interesting. So then we have the airport. I think it's the arrows do go a little too quickly up, so to speak. It's not rocket ships, so they don't go straight up like that. But all right, if they want it to look like that, of course it's their prerogative. Then we have, this is a European side, looks good, and this is the United States side, which also looks good. I think it's pretty accurate in the way, in the styles of the buildings and stuff like that. This is land value, and I don't know, I haven't read or heard about how it's going to work. I just know that it's completely revamped and completely different to the way it was in City Skylines 1, so we're just gonna have to wait and see there as well. Here we have the maintenance building, which we had in the beginning. You can see them coming out with snow plows here. That's weird, there's no snow outside. But alright, they just wanted to have a picture with both the maintenance cars, I guess. Here we have transportation again with the bus lines, and it looks good. It looks good. It looks really good, I must say. So yeah, looking forward to it. Then we have the transport, more public transport here. The tram, I guess, going here, or is it the buses? It's the buses that they have highlighted here, but that's a tram, of course, going in the picture. So this is going to be interesting. Some little nice park with tennis courts here. Also going to be interesting to see if there's going to be anybody moving in these things, if they're going to be playing tennis and stuff like that. It's also going to be interesting. Here's some signature residential. I mean, there's going to be a lot of these coming from the modded community. I'm sure of it. These signature buildings, and it looks and feel interesting actually, and hopefully it will be a success for them. But yeah, it's going to be something different to look upon, I guess. There we have a nice little park with a football pitch, or should I say soccer, for the, if there's any American watching. So in the statue, nice little touch out there. And then we have a little commercial signature building here with parking spaces. I think those parking spaces belong to this commercial building. So I guess it's a little shopping mall. So that's interesting. There we have more of the tram lines here, where they can stop here and just go the other way. I don't think that was the case in City Skylines 1. They had some roundabout or something to be able to go back. And here is an office signature building. Looks okay. I mean, some pretty housing and pretty buildings, I must say, but I think the community will actually build better ones. Here's a server farm or whatever it's called, and because this is all the telecom situation with Wi-Fi and stuff to the city to improve the happiness there. Then we have this tool, the terrain tool, and to be honest, looking at the pictures, the stills that they have taken, it looks perfectly alright and okay. But having watched the beta game where different people plays, it's a lot of glitches and stuff when they play around with these thingamajings, which I hope will be better when the release comes out. So yeah, but looking good. A mixed feeling about this. Part of me feels like, yeah, that's a pretty horrible building, and part of me thinks, well, it looks kind of okay. So yeah, very mixed feelings about those, but it's only water pumps. You should only pump water with them, so it's not something you should be really concerned in that way. But this, I mean, yes, quite honestly, this is movie America. Every time you see a movie about a small town, they always have a water tower looking like that. So yeah, that's just a perfect little water tower. But they don't have any typical European water tower, which is nowhere near looking like these. So yeah, that's a bit of a shame. And then we can see this is a fire station with the upgrades that you can put around here. As I said, I really do hope that the modders will be able to build both the station itself and its upgrade as well, looking the way they want it to be, because I know that the modded community is going to be making some really nice things out of it then. And here's the hospital, and the same thing goes for that, of course. And we have services, the cost of services that which we can go and play around with us as well. And of course the sewage, and you might think that it's the sewage I want to talk about in this picture, but it's not actually. It's something that I feel has gotten a lot better, and that is, look at the road, look at the bridges, and compare the extremely fat, high bridges. I mean, I'm not talking about the distance from the ground to the bridge. I'm talking about the bridge itself, which was very fat and was, should I say, almost impossible to make a road go over another road, especially if you wanted to bring in perhaps 3 roads in height, so that you had one on the base level, and then one in middle layer, and then one going over there. If you wanted the lorries or the trucks or whatever you want to call them to go underneath the bridge, you needed to have them extremely high. The third one needed to be extremely high. Here I feel that they have slimmer roads, which means that we will be able to build them closer to each other, while the trucks and the lorries will still be able to go underneath there and without it looking bad. So that's a major improvement in my mind, that the roads aren't as high when you build bridges as they were, because I mean, I think they would go somewhere down here when you built in City Skylines 1. Very thick they were. So yeah, this looks a lot better. And the last picture I've chosen was this one, where we're going to be having groundwater to search for. And if we pump up too much water from this groundwater, we are of course going to run out of water. It's going to be filled up, I think. If we stop using it, it's going to come back. So we need to balance that as well and get new resources to take the water from time to time. So when the city grows, we need to have new places to pick up fresh water and stuff like that. So yeah, well, if to make a little summary of everything now, I think the game looks like it's going to be a cool one. It looks like it's going to be a good game. I feel that for it to feel as good playable as City Skylines 1, I think we're gonna have to wait for a couple of DLCs to arrive, and then we will feel like there is as much to do in this game as there is in City Skylines 1. When we look at the pure, or on other things like the graphics, like how the AI probably is going to work and everything like that, this is really beating City Skylines 1 in lots of ways. So yeah, it's going to be what you prefer in the game and what's most important for you. I think some people will still play City Skylines 1 and wait for a couple of DLCs to come out before they really dig themselves into City Skylines 2, because they're gonna miss a lot of things that they could do in City Skylines 1 just because of all the DLC that has arrived, like the pedestrians areas and stuff like that. So I do believe there will be a mixture of people. There will be those that leaves City Skylines 1 completely behind and just play City Skylines 2. There will be those that will jump back and forth, and there will be those who refuses to play City Skylines 2 until there is a couple of more DLCs, so that they feel that it's a better game than what they're playing already. So yeah, I think it's going to be splitting up the community a bit, but I think the overall it's going to be a pleasant new thing with City Skylines 2. I feel that my channel will, for a starter, we will hopefully just play City Skylines 2 once that comes out. So I guess this is the last video where we even have City Skylines 1 in mind. But as I said, I think we're going to be putting our aim on City Skylines 2, and if by some strange reason we are not going to be satisfied with City Skylines 2, we will of course go back to City Skylines 1. But I don't believe that. I believe that I'm going to be having so much fun with City Skylines 2, and I'm going to be making a lot better videos with City Skylines 2. So I'm looking forward to City Skylines 2, that's for sure. And I'll hope you'll join me in those games. So I think it's going to be 6 weeks now until my next video on City Skylines comes out, and that will be a video of us playing City Skylines 2. Will be the first video I release with City Skylines 2, so I hope you'll join me, and I hope we will make a long one. Maybe even play for an hour or two, maybe longer. Yeah. Until then, I really hope you take care of yourself and everything. Do like and subscribe, would mean a lot to me. And stay safe out there. I always want you to come back and to be really safe out there in this world that has become a bit more unsafe than it once were, especially in some parts of the world, that is, and have lots of fun. It's always important to have fun, and I'll just end with bye 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 bye.